Can you control the way you feel? Can you decide when you feel good and when you feel bad? Can you change it? Hopefully you can a little bit. But what I'm about to suggest you in this video is obviously has the potential to completely change your life, because if you change your emotions, you're completely changing your life, isn't it? So the first problem in here is that we think we know what is causing the emotion. We think, when I feel bad, it's because of this. I feel bad because someone told me something wrong. I feel bad because this person did this. I feel bad because I don't have this. Or I feel good because someone told me something good about myself. I feel good because we think we know why we feel good and bad. But that is part of the problem. So hopefully through most of my other videos, you can already understand that that's actually not what's happening. You feel good or bad not because of the situation. The situation is relatively neutral. Different people will be living the same situation and will feel different about it. So in the sense, it's more about the way your brain or your past is filtering, your thinking is filtering the situation. So the real reason why you feel the way you feel is because of your thoughts. Hopefully we're clear on that, and you knew this already before watching this video. But what I'm about to say, you haven't really heard before. And it's the hidden reason why it seems so difficult to control your thoughts and to not to keep thinking this negative thinking, this overthinking, all these thoughts crossing your mind that creates this emotion. So you may be hopefully aware of that relationship. So consider that your emotions are thought systems, or the consequences of thought systems. So imagine there's not just one thought, but there's a cluster of thoughts about a thing. Could be, I feel bad because someone said something, someone criticized something I said or I did. So I feel bad because that triggers in you the idea that you've been rejected before, and certain other thoughts about how you may not be good enough to be loved or to be appreciated. I don't know. There's always this kind of cluster of thoughts and beliefs that are all. So think about your emotions as the consequence of these thought systems. But now, let's talk about how thoughts actually work. Because we think of thoughts as something that it is something. But thoughts are nothing. Thoughts are just, they don't have really information. They have a little bit of information, but they basically are just pointers. Thoughts don't really carry information by themselves. And I know that's topic for another video, but hopefully through seeing most of all of my videos, you understand what I mean by that. Thoughts are not really things. Thoughts are really pointers, are like signals telling you this or that, but are symbols of what it is there, are not the thing. It's the symbol of the thing. A word is not. The word honey is not honey, it's a concept, it's a symbol of honey. Honey is the real thing. Hope you follow me on that. So, thoughts are pointing. And what we normally don't notice is that, and this is one of the important aspects of this video, just notice that the thoughts you have are pointing towards, simplify, horrible emotion of, let's call it fear, or a fantastic emotion, let's call it peace or love or something like that. But now consider that every thought you have, it is pointing towards one or the other. So even the thought of, I'm going to go to the grocery store later, we normally think that doesn't have much weight on your life. But the truth is that there are no neutral thoughts in your life. That is the hidden culprit for the whole problem. You don't see it coming. You don't see the little ants that are actually creating this huge problem, because we normally render them irrelevant. We think that any thought that crosses our mind is not necessarily charged emotionally, so it doesn't matter. But that's not how it works. These thoughts are structures, and basically in your mind there are two main structures. There are thoughts that are pointing towards the truth, and they make you feel better. They point toward the truth of who you really are, of the peace you really are, of the timeless knowledge that is inside of you. And there are other thoughts that are basically saying the contrary. That are saying you're a victim and you're a person lost in a universe in space and time. That's basically make you feel like the whole universe is against you. Let's call that negative thinking, and that there's all these problems with your own self-worth, or think about all the emotions they create. Any range of hate, sadness, all of them are just like bad emotions, right? So think you have these two systems actually of thinking. One that is pointing towards the truth and it feels good, and one that's pointing towards chaos and entropy, meaning that's something that doesn't make any sense and is creating fear. Well, that's what you fear when you don't see and you don't understand, right? So think about every thought you have, in the smallest thoughts you're crossing your mind even right now, they're actually tilting towards one or the other. So most people don't notice, or let's put it this way, what happens to you, the reason why you cannot control or you don't feel that you have mastery over this process is because you're not noticing these small, tiny little bit pieces that seem to be just casual daily thoughts that are actually tilting towards one side or the other. So going to saying, even the most practical thought I say, like going to the grocery store, may look like a thought that doesn't cost anything, right? But if you see in the context, maybe going to the grocery store right now creates some sort of stress. Or maybe going to the grocery store, it will make you happy because you're thinking on the fantastic food you're going to cook for yourself, or the great moment you're going to have later having dinner with someone you're going to be cooking for, let's say. Or the sense of security because you're going to have everything you need. Or the sense of lack because you're worried that you won't have enough money to pay for everything. You see, even the smallest, tiniest thought you have, it is actually tilting your life towards the truth or towards emptiness in the negative sense of chaos or disorder or fear. That's how it feels to think of something that doesn't make any sense. It's just confusing. It just makes your life hell. Another way of thinking of this is that if you pay attention to thoughts that are tilting towards chaos or tilting towards problems, you're gonna find, or they make you feel bad, let's say, these thoughts are gonna be attracting more of that thoughts. So a person that is giving attention to a sense of victimhood, of that you cannot defend yourself from a threatening environment, if you really nurture that kind of thinking, more of that thought system are going to come to you. So your head is going to be flooded with that. On the other hand, if you're paying attention to thoughts that are, let's say, problem solving, that are appreciating your life the way it is, appreciating yourself, appreciating everything, that kind of thoughts are going to lean towards wisdom, are going to make you feel better. And the point is, some of these thoughts you know very well. You know the negative beliefs you have, these great beliefs about, nothing. I don't know exactly what is your problem, but it could be something on the line of I don't know, it just comes to my mind, life doesn't make any sense. You're gonna die someday. What's the point of trying to create a future if everything is gonna end up being wrong? No one loves you. You don't even like yourself. I don't know. This kind of like, that smells really bad. Sometimes you notice, but normally that is too late. The real moment you should be paying attention, it is when you're thinking these middle thoughts that you think they are neutral. You think they are not relevant. You think they don't matter. But you are actually, in every thought you think, you are attracting more thoughts of the problem, you're attracting more of the good thoughts. And I'm not saying you should really try to control your emotions, really, in the sense of trying to change the way you feel, but it's more like observing these dynamics. I'm assuming you want to feel good. That's kind of obvious. So the problem is not your let's say your positive thinking is the consequence of a balanced, clear, tranquil, peaceful mind. A mind like that have positive thoughts. and thoughts that feel good and leans towards the direct experience of truth and beauty and joy and presence. So the problem is actually when you're thinking thoughts that seem neutral, but they are actually tilting you towards fear and chaos. So I want you to do an experiment. Just close your eyes, rest. We're not trying to repress or get out of thoughts. Just let thoughts naturally pop up in your mind. Any thought. Sometimes in the beginning, when you're looking at your mind, suddenly your mind stops and there are no thoughts coming. That's okay, just rest. They will come. One thing is to be relaxed, not trying to not have thoughts. Just pay attention to your mind. Your mind will be shy in the beginning and won't like to show itself. But if you relax and watch it without judging, little by little, your mind will bring a thought like, I have to do something later. Any thought. And instead of putting a label to thought, I just want you to feel the consequence of that thought. But in this case, I want you to zoom in. So it's going to be subtle. Probably you're not going to have a huge emotionally charged thought. So probably it's going to be a bit of a casual thought. So experience it and zoom in. Become more sensitive to understand if that thought is actually tilting towards chaos or this thought is tilting towards peace. All the thoughts, all of them, none of them is neutral. Okay, this was just a very, very brief exercise. So I encourage you to practice this all day long. So not just sitting and closing your eyes and thinking. That's something you can do right after this video, maybe. Spend all the time that you want. Or just go around your house, start doing things. And all the time, bring about the topic that we were discussing today. That your mind will tell you that the thoughts you're thinking are just non-relevant or not so important. Don't have much consequence in the big scale of your life. But what I'm saying is the contrary. I'm saying, no, that's the hidden problem. Why nothing makes sense. Why you feel that your emotions are sort of beyond your control. They have nothing to do with you. That they are random. That they are dependent on the circumstances. So if you practice this, you just, with curiosity, just feel every thought, even in this most subtle level, you're going to realize that all of them are tilting towards one or another. And that will give you the opportunity to start understanding the deeper layers of your mind and to let go more profound aspects of this thought system. And at some point, you will realize that you can completely let go of everything. But at that point, normally your mind is already pretty much pointing the truth. So only wisdom, only good things will come to your mind if you have a peaceful mind, you have a tranquil mind. But you cannot have a tranquil mind if you are actually thinking thoughts that are distressful, even when they are tiny. They're not tiny. That's the illusion. All of the thoughts matter, and all of them are saying black or white. All of the thoughts, they are making you feel better or worse. They are reinforcing this dynamic or that dynamic. So pay attention to the small thoughts, the small changes, subtle changes in your emotions. And in this way, things will start making sense. And you will be able to observe your mind from a profound way and be free and enjoy your life from a completely new level.